This is the second day of the Nosu Torch Festival, July 15th, 2001, Liangshan Prefecture, Yanyuan County. We are in the lodgings of a teacher of the county-run Nationalities High School. Teacher Hu Lopolatpo is a remarkable man, a black Yi who has married outside his caste, rejecting the bride originally arranged for him in his childhood. He and his wife have a 57-day-old baby, their second child. The baby is in the house, just out of the hospital after a 9-day stay, and must return to the hospital that very evening. Pneumonia was diagnosed. It is around 11 in the morning, and besides 2 Yi friends and myself, there are teacher Hu, a reluctant participant in the ceremony who will go in and out, his wife's mother and younger sister, their 2 children, 4 neighbors or relatives, and Ajemo Valo, who will be the performer. Ajemo Valo is a female Sunni. Female Sunni are usually called Moni in Nosu. She is 62 years old and comes from the village of Vaku, also in Yanyuan County. She is married and has 7 children. She became a Moni when she was around 40 years old. She had been ill for around 7 years and had finally invited a Bimo to perform a ritual for greeting her Hasa and become a full-fledged Moni. She remembers that during her illness, she was severely criticized in her work unit for her sudden bursts of shaking that showed how much she was influenced by superstition. Her Hasa, there are 4 of them, originate from her husband's family, where only one is a Sunni from one generation to another. Her husband himself is not a Sunni. Were she to die first, one of her daughters or her husband might be chosen by the Hasa for continuing her position. Ajemo Valo is extremely reserved in manners, but has her own way to make a statement. Without blinking, she tells us before the ritual starts that there is in this country a Moni of more renown than she is herself, a Moni whose good offices are looked for as far as the Yunnan province. This particular Moni has for a Hasa a brother who died as an officer in the PLA. The quality of her Hasa makes her prone to fire gunshots during the rituals for chasing the ghosts away, and it also helps make her very popular with the party cadres, who often invite her to perform at their houses. The Moni starts chanting, seated on the floor of the apartment. The rest of us are seated on sofas. A plate of salt and noodles, as well as 2 small glasses of alcohol, are put at her side. She herself has in her hands 2 other glasses, larger in size, and she pours the contents from one cup to another. Her chanting starts with the genealogy of her trade, the Sunni line to which she belongs. She takes the rooster presented to her and breaks its spur. The door of the room and the one of the little house are kept open. The Moni threatens the ghosts by recalling the reputation of her trade genealogy and the good deeds that she herself performed in the past. She takes a bowl of rice. Buckwheat should be used, but there is none in the house, and she blows it towards the different directions. The chanting intensifies. Devils from the north and the south, devils from every direction, do not come again to persecute this household. Curses, turn back towards the direction you come from. The words used are the ones uttered during the Vashi rituals. The operation is repeated 3 times. The rooster is knocked senseless, and an assistant rubs it on the chief of the household around 10 times, then on his wife and their 2 children. The Moni calls for peace and security for each of them. While marking the rhythm with a chopper, she sings the origins and praises of the rooster. Recalling the origins and the role of the sacrificed animal is a compulsory part of the ritual. The egg has been brooded by the hen for 21 days. The rooster was first a fledgling, then grew to its present size. 3 times each day the rooster makes its call, first to make the sun rise, second to call humans to work, third at noon to initiate the slow descent of the sun. The rooster is told that it is killed so that it might send the enemy away. She winds a handful of rice around the head of the rooster and throws this handful away with a cry. The rhythm intensifies. She strikes the head of the rooster against the floor and then cuts its throat, letting the blood flow into a bowl. She turns herself towards the wall, still holding the rooster, gluing on the wall a few feathers with the blood and offering the blood to her hasa. She strikes again the rooster with her chopper. After a pause and imbibing some bowlfuls of alcohol, a new sequence starts. She makes new threats against the ghosts while her protecting spirits and the ones of the household are called to the rescue. She flings towards the door a half-burned log, the chopper, and the rooster, head pointed forward. At this point, the ghosts are supposed to be concentrated on the rooster, the 2 other objects telling them not to come again. The Moni takes her drum, singing in a curled-up position, and puts the drumstick into the rooster's blood. A long pause subsequently takes place as she finds the skin of the drum too humid. She goes out for drying it on a fire. During this time, everyone eats the liver and kidney that have just been roasted. Once the Moni is back, she proceeds to the calling of her hasa with the drum. The chanting amplifies into 2 successive solemn melodies. Wherever you are, come and help me. I already prepared for you meat and alcohol. After around 15 minutes, the drumming reaches a maximum of intensity. Standing up, the Moni enters into a trance. The melody evolves into long, strident notes, alternating with plain drumming. She suddenly stops and sits down. 5 similar sequences, each of them of around 20 minutes, will succeed and will stop as suddenly as the first one, producing moments of strong ritual and musical strength with much melodic diversity, a very ritualized, controlled trance. In the process, she asks the spirits why the child is ill and if the ghost comes from the father's or the mother's family. Accompanied by the interjections of the child's grandmother, whose role will be progressively asserted, she gets the word from the hasa that the illness will be cured. The illness comes from a piece of meat harboring a ghost, a piece of meat that was, it will be revealed, eaten during the funerals of the sick mother's older sister's child. The culprit is a shobi, a Han ghost, which will require an additional sequence, the offering of extra fat, Han ghosts being especially gluttonous. Once the identity of the ghost is revealed, the ritual water is spilled for chasing it away. Ghosts are cursed, and the 2 souls, the one of the mother and the one of the child, are called back. 2 needles, a large one for the mother's soul and a small one for the child's, are put in a basket. If the needle points towards the patient when the box is opened, then her soul has come back. The divination process is taken seriously. 2 times the mother opens the basket, and 2 times the needles happen to point in the wrong direction. The soul has to be called again. Finally, an assistant will substitute for the mother, hopelessly clumsy, and he will be able to make the basket turn in such a way as to have the needles point towards mother and child. 2 sequences will conclude the ritual. One to confirm that the souls are back indeed, and telling them to remain now where they are. The second one to send away the hasa of the moni. In the course of the ritual, the latter will also receive a cloth and 10 renminbi. Now we can eat, she says quietly at the end of this performance that has lasted for 3 hours. Is she tired? Not at all, she says, for her hasa helped her the whole time to hold and beat the heavy drum that she uses.